Alright guys, video number 3, we're going to do our case study on Andrew Jackson, and we are going to cover numbers 7, 8, 9, and 10 in the guided notes today. Andrew Jackson was 7th President of the United States, 1829 to 1837 were the dates that he served as president. We now consider him the founder of the Democratic Party, and a famous quote from him is, "Take time to deliberate, but when the time for action arrives, stop thinking and go in." One of the major things that Jackson dealt with were population problems. So it says areas that were originally occupied by Native Americans became overcrowded by colonists who were moving west in order to avoid overcrowding. Inevitably, this led to confrontation over control of the land. So President Jackson did this thing that we now know as the Indian Removal Act. He saw it as an opportunity to provide the needs of the white farmers and businessmen. He also claimed that removal was in the best interest of the Indians. The Indian Removal Act from 1830, passed in Congress, and it said that all Indians living east of the Mississippi River had to leave their lands and move west. President Jackson signed this law and ordered 5 different big tribes and a lot of other tribes to leave their lands and move west. Eventually, this became known as the Trail of Tears. It might seem pretty obvious, but if you get kicked out of your land, you're not going to be very happy with that. So the Native Americans fought back. They tried to fight back peacefully, and they actually took this problem all the way to the Supreme Court. So the Cherokee Nation specifically fought back and took their case to the Supreme Court in 1832, and Chief Justice John Marshall, this guy right here, he ruled that there should be protected lands for the Indians, that Native Americans should be protected and helped because they live here too. President Jackson did not like that very much, so he essentially said, you can say that, but try to do something about it and see what happens. He said, Marshall has made his decision, now let him enforce it. Build a fire under them. When it gets hot enough, they'll go. So what Jackson did was, he, instead of just letting them sit there and not doing anything about it, he sent soldiers, and he forced the natives from their land. This journey, like I said before, has become known as the Trail of Tears. The Cherokees traveled over 800 miles, and more than 4,000 of them died, 25% of them. So in a class of 19, there would be like 4 of you who wouldn't be around anymore if you guys were part of the Trail of Tears, statistically. That's a lot of people. I guess that's it for Jackson. We're going to talk tomorrow about the Trail of Tears and some of what Jackson did, but think about what your thoughts are. Form your own opinions on this. And try to come up with some predictions for consequences of Jackson's decision, and look at if there are any current issues that resemble the decision-making of President Jackson. I can think of a few examples, so try to write some down and come to class prepared, and we'll do something fun with this.